What's up, Broncos Country? Get ready, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make you understand why this team is different. Did you know we just tied one of the franchise's most sacred records? That's right, 14 wins in the regular season. You know, when was the last time that happened? In 1998, when we hoisted the Super Bowl trophy. Let that number sink in for a second. 1998, Super Bowl. And now, with the same number of wins. Coincidence? I don't think so. But hold on, it gets even better. And I'm going to prove to you that this defense we have isn't just good, it's historic. Take a deep breath, because the numbers I'm about to drop are going to blow your mind. Our defense, that's right, our defense set a new franchise record for sacks. 68 sacks. Let me repeat that because this number deserves it. 68 sacks. But you might be thinking, okay, that's a lot of sacks, but is it really that impressive? And I'll tell you, Broncos Country, this isn't just impressive. This is absolutely dominant. Let me explain something that'll make you appreciate this feat even more. Back in the day, in the 70s, the game was completely different. Teams passed way less, so it was easier to have a high sack percentage. In 1971, our defense got 43.5 sacks in just 14 games. Seems small compared to our 68, right? But wait, opponents back then only attempted 356 passes in the entire season. That's an average of 25 pass attempts per game. With those 43.5 sacks, the 1971 defense achieved a sack percentage of 11%. And guess what? Our defense hit double digits too, 10.3% sack percentage. And that's with opponents attempting 593 passes against us. An average of 35 passes per game. Do you understand the magnitude of this? In the modern game, where all teams pass all the time, where quarterbacks are protected like rare jewels, where the rules favor the us offense, we achieved a sack percentage that only loses to that legendary 1971 team. But you know what makes this even more special? The distribution of those sacks. Nick Benito, beast, 14 sacks, sole leader, and deservedly applauded by the entire Denver Broncos family. But here comes the detail that separates a good defense from an elite defense. He was the only player of ours with double-digit sacks. So what, you might ask? I'll explain. This means our pressure doesn't come from just one or two guys. It comes from everywhere. 17 different defenders got at least half a sack. 10 different defenders got at least 3 sacks. Let me put this in perspective for you. Last season, 16 defenders got at least half a sack, but only 7 got 3 or more. And that's because both Jonathan Cooper and Benito hit double digits. The defense relied heavily on those two. In 2023, even worse, no player with more than 10 sacks, only 13 defenders with at least half a sack. Some of those guys who got sacks in 2023 aren't even in the league anymore. They've gone home. But now we have an army of pass rushers who can come from anywhere, from any angle, at any moment. The opposing quarterback can't focus on stopping 1 or 2 guys. He has to worry about everybody. If you're true Broncos Country, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any play of this journey toward the title. And the defensive numbers don't stop there, my friend. We finished in 3rd place in points allowed in the league, but check this out. We finished in 1st place in yards per play allowed. This means that when opponents manage to get close to our end zone, we lock down, we hold, we don't let them score. 12 of the league's best defenses in tough points allowed made the playoffs. Know who didn't? The Steelers, who finished 17th, and the Bears, who finished 23rd. And look, the Bears had one of the worst defenses in yards allowed per play. Only the Commanders, Cowboys, and Bengals were worse. Now, here's a stat that should be in big, bold letters on every sports site. We finished tied for 2nd place in yards per rush allowed. 3.87 yards per carry, tied with the Colts. Only the Seahawks were better, allowing 3.74. We shut down opponents' ground game. And that, Denver Broncos family, is fundamental when you want to go far in the playoffs. Want some good news? If we face the Bills in the playoffs, our weak running game might not be that much of a problem. Why? Because their run defense was one of the worst in the league. They finished 30th, allowing 5.14 yards per carry. The Bills are the only AFC playoff team that had serious trouble containing the run game. Meanwhile, we have the second-best run defense. Can you imagine the scenario? We can run on them while they can't run on us. Advantage Broncos. And the passing game? We finished 6th in passer rating allowed with 78.7. The Chargers finished first with 75. The difference between the best pass defenses was minimal, practically all at the same level of excellence. To give you an idea, the average passer rating in the NFL this season was 91.4. We allow way less than that. But wait, there's more. We dropped to second place in third down percentage allowed with 33.8%. The Seahawks finished first with 32.1. Basically, when the opponent gets to third down against us, they have only a 1 in 3 chance of converting. We stopped the drive. The two teams with the best regular season record, guess which ones? Us and the Seahawks. And both relied heavily on their defenses to get where they got. Defense wins championships, Broncos Country, and we have one of the best. The Texans finished first in scoring percentage allowed, meaning the percentage of drives that resulted in points for the opponent. They had 27.6%. We finished 7th with 34.6. Not first place, but still elite. And here's the cherry on top. We finished in first place in red zone touchdown percentage, 42.6%. You understand what that means? When the opponent manages to get to the red zone, those final 20 yards before the end zone, where most teams score easy. We hold. We allow touchdowns less than half the time. Our defense is a wall when the field gets short. The playoff team with the worst percentage in this? The Patriots, with 67.5%. But it's a bit misleading because they allowed the fewest number of red zone drives, only 40, meaning opponents could barely get there. Speaking of the Patriots, let's make a comparison that'll show you why we deserve all the respect. The Patriots had the easiest schedule among all teams that made the playoffs. They faced only 3 playoff teams during the regular season, and they won 2 of those games, a win over the Panthers, a loss to the Steelers, and a tie against the Bills. Win over the Panthers, please. The Panthers are only the second team in NFL history to make the playoffs with a losing record. That doesn't impress anyone. And us? Broncos Country, we faced 6 playoff teams. 6! And we won 4. The 2 losses? One to the Jaguars, where the defense failed on a bad day. It happens. And another to the Chargers, where the offense didn't show up. But even so, we responded. The 4 wins over playoff teams were against the Chargers in the rematch, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Texans. 3 impressive wins, while the Patriots have only 1 win worth anything. Oh, and in the overall context of the season, we also destroyed a Giants team that was in great form, a Cowboys team that was also flying, and a Chiefs team that still had their starting quarterback on the field. Our journey was tough, Broncos Country. We didn't catch any breaks. We earned every win against real opponents. And that, family, is what separates good teams from great teams. Good teams win when everything is favorable. Great teams win when the schedule is brutal, when the opponents are super strong, when everyone doubts. This defense we have didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built. 68 sacks don't fall from the sky. First place in yards per play allowed isn't luck. Second place against the run isn't an accident. First place in red zone defense isn't a coincidence. It's work. It's dedication. It's a group of players who bought into the idea that together they're unbeatable. 17 different guys getting sacks, that's chemistry. That's a system working to perfection. That's every player knowing exactly their role and executing with excellence. When you have 10 defenders with at least 3 sacks each, you have a problem for opponents that's impossible to solve. Who are you going to stop? Who are you going to put 2 guys on to block? Everyone is a threat. And you know what that means for the playoffs, Broncos Country? It means we have the most important weapon in football, a defense that can carry the team when the offense has a bad day. You saw what happened in the game against the Chargers when we lost. the offense didn't work. But how many times did the defense save the team this season? How many times did the defense give the ball back to the offense in favorable position? How many times did the defense kill the opponent's drive on third down? 14 wins, tied with the 1998 team that won it all. Could this be a sign? Could destiny be written? I don't believe in destiny, Broncos Country. I believe in work. I believe in defense. I believe in 68 sacks. I believe in first place in yards per play allowed. I believe in second place against the run. I believe in first place in the red zone. The numbers don't lie. Statistics aren't opinion. We have one of the best defenses in the league, and when you have that, you always have a chance. The playoffs are a different war. It's single elimination, one mistake, and you go home. But you know who survives in the playoffs? Who has defense. Because the offense can have a bad day, the quarterback can make mistakes, the running back can slip, but an elite defense is consistent. And consistency is exactly what we showed in the regular season. Game after game, week after week, the defense showed up. Didn't matter the opponent, didn't matter where we played, didn't matter who was on the other side. The defense was always there. Tell me, Broncos Country, what do you think of this defense? Do you think it can take us all the way to the Super Bowl? Because I'll tell you something. With 68 sacks, with the best defense in yards per play, with the second best against the run, with the best in the red zone, we have all the necessary tools. The offense just needs to do its part, doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to break records, just needs to be efficient. Because when you have a defense that holds opponents to 33.8% on third downs, you don't need 40 points per game. 24 points might be enough. That's the beauty of having a dominant defense, family. You take the pressure off the offense. The offense can play more relaxed, more confident, knowing that if they make one or two mistakes, the defense will hold. And in the playoffs, where the pressure is maximum, where every possession is crucial, having a defense you can trust is the difference between hoisting the trophy or going home crying. The Bills with that horrible run defense, we can exploit that. The Patriots with that easy schedule and only one impressive win, we have 3. We're more prepared. We've been through more challenges. And that loss to the Jaguars served as a lesson. The defense learned, adjusted, and never had that type of performance again. That loss to the Chargers, the offense learned it can't sleep on the job. Every stumble was an opportunity for growth. And we grew. 14 wins don't lie. 68 sacks don't lie. The records don't lie. This team is special, Broncos Country. The defense is historic. And the journey isn't over yet. Actually, it's just beginning. The playoffs are where legends are born. The playoffs are where regular season records find their true meaning. And we have everything to transform this impressive campaign into something immortal. When you look back at 1998, you don't just remember the 14 wins. You remember the trophy. You remember the glory. And that's exactly what we want now. This defense with 17 different guys getting sacks is a nightmare for any offensive coordinator. How do you prepare a game plan against that? You can't. Because no matter where the pressure comes from, it will arrive. And when the pressure arrives, quarterbacks make mistakes. When quarterbacks make mistakes, the defense gets interceptions. When the defense gets interceptions, the offense has a short field. When the offense has a short field, it scores. When you score and the defense holds, you win. It's simple math, Broncos Country, and our defense is doing its part to perfection. So I'm going to ask you again, do you believe? Because the numbers show you should believe. 68 sacks, franchise record, 10.3% sack percentage, the best since 1971, first place in yards per play allowed, second place against the run, first place in the red zone. These aren't numbers from a team that's going to fall in the first round of the playoffs. These are numbers from a championship team. So Denver Broncos family, are you ready for this journey? Are you ready to watch this dominant defense do what it does best? Are you ready to scream, celebrate every sack, every third down stop, every interception? Because I am, and I know you are too. Hit that like if you believe in this defense. Comment below which defensive player is your favorite. Share with all your Broncos Country friends, because everyone needs to know we have a historic defense. And get your heart ready, because the playoffs are going to be a war. But when you have 68 sacks on your side, when you have the best defense in yards per play, when you have warriors coming from everywhere, you don't fear anyone. Broncos Country, it's time to show the whole world that this is our year. The defense did its part in the regular season. Now it's time to do it in the playoffs. Until the next video, and bring on the playoffs. Let's go, Broncos!